Yeah, another good reason why you should be really thinking about the solar panels now is because if you do need planning permission, there is an 8-week run-in time. So that's something else you need to build in. But looking at the figures, if you do need planning permission, it would only cost £150, which I think by comparison is quite good value. But my name is Rebecca Horley. I'm from Cherwell District Council Planning Department, and I'm Senior Officer in the Bicester area team. Now, if you live in Bicester, the likelihood is that you won't need planning permission to do these solar panels. But there are caveats to that. So therein lies the big question. Do I need planning permission? So you won't need planning permission if it's on the ridge of the roof and if it's no deeper than 20 centimetres, which I think most companies now are generally under that. If your house is in a conservation area, and the panels would be fixed to the front or side wall of the house and would be visible from the highway. So if you fall into that category, it tips you into needing planning permission. And also, if it's in the garden of a listed building, you do need planning permission. If your house happens to be listed, you may not need planning permission, but you will need listed building consent. Now, the problem is with this issue is, as you can probably already tell, there are lots of what-ifs, and if my house is in a conservation area, if it's not, is it listed, if it's not, if the panels are on the roof but on the wall, if it's deeper than 20 centimetres, all these form part of our consideration. So we understand how difficult it is for you to try and work your way through that legislation. So obviously we're quite happy for you if you go on the planning portal website, which is the government website, which gives you all this information, and you still have trouble with it, then please get in touch with us. So solar panels that don't require planning permission. Is that back? Which way's back? Sorry. Oh, I went too fast. Yeah. Still need to, so you've worked out, you've been through and you think, well, I don't need planning permission here. However, they then kick in a few more caveats. So we would say, as far as is practicable, it needs to minimise the external appearance of the building. So there is a judgment in there as well. Not only do you have to meet the requirements of size and where it is, but then you have to make a judgment. And you have to minimise the impact of the amenity of the area. And once you've finished with them, you have to remove them. Now, we would suggest, therefore, even if you've determined that it doesn't need planning permission, that it would be a good idea to submit what we call a certificate of lawfulness, which is your statement to us to say, we don't need planning permission, local authority, can we have a certificate to prove it? Because then you've got all your paperwork in order. Sometimes it's not suitable for your building to take a solar panel, and you might like to consider doing a structure in the garden. Again, we have various criteria in which to make that assessment. And you see here it's not to be higher than 4 metres, it should be more than 5 metres from the boundary, no larger than 9 square metres, and it shouldn't be in the garden of a listed building. And if the garden's in a conservation area, the panels should not be visible from a highway. There you go, only one standard solar panel is permitted. And if you fail any of those criteria, then obviously you need planning permission. Standalone solar panels that do not require planning permission still need to comply with another host of conditions, all about minimising the effect of the amenity of the area, and that they should be removed as soon as possible. This is unlikely to affect any of you unless you live in a flat, because all that is to do with householders and dwelling houses. If you live in a flat, you're likely to need planning permission, because the permitted development rights only kick in for householders of dwelling houses. If you need listed building consent, it's free. If you end up needing planning permission, it's £150. And if you go for the certificate of lawfulness option, then that's half the fee, £75. I'm sure there are a load of questions, but I'll just show you a couple of examples here. This is a slide taken, I think this was Wigginton, in a conservation area, and it was determined that planning permission wasn't required in this case. They'd cited them as far as practicable in the most convenient place that would cause least harm to amenity. The next slide, however, is slightly more challenging. This is another conservation area, and you can see what the homeowners have done. They have covered the roof and their garage roof with solar panels. Now, the question at the moment to us is whether or not that needs planning permission. And the debate goes on a little bit, but I think we have determined that it doesn't, because the homeowner has produced for us an assessment of all the other possible locations that could go on in this house. In the garden, it can't go in the garden, it can't go on another roof slope. This is the best place, therefore it's permitted development. So if you look at a case like that, you might think, actually, pretty much most things go. Okay, I think the last slide, no, that's all. Right, I will be staying till the end, so you might have personal questions about your particular property, that's fine, or you might have some sort of generic minefield type questions. There really is no easy way to present this to you, but at least if you've got all the information, I can help you go through it.
Do these conditions apply to PV only, or also the solar hot water?
So the gentleman's question was about PV panels or solar panels. As far as the planning department are concerned, it's about the panel, and it's about a structure on the roof